Welcome to Between Two Pastries, a not-so-typical nutrition podcast. Nicole and Annie are licensed and registered dietitians. Join them as they discuss hot nutrition topics, challenge popular beliefs, and have a blast doing it. Here are your hosts, Nicole and Annie.
Welcome, everybody, to Between Two Pastries. This is Nicole.
Hey, everyone. It's Annie.
Today, we kind of have like a little bit of a commentary. We received a lot of different comments on our Caffeine Pod that we did. So we just kind of wanted to follow up with that and then kind of segue into metabolic adaptation because it kind of goes hand in hand with what people are talking about with even caffeine.
Yeah. So what did you hear? Anyone yell and scream?
I know, right? Oh gosh, it's really crazy. I think the biggest thing that kind of came out from that pod were people coming in and being like, I'm addicted to this product, these crazy products that are out there that have this astronomical amount of caffeine in it. So I think that was just kind of the big thing. One of the other products that I received comment from a school teacher is the product called Celsius. So Celsius makes a bunch of different ones. So this is the fascinating piece of it. There's 200 freaking milligrams of caffeine in it, which is way beyond suitable for anything.
Especially kids.
Well, it's pointless. So the thing is that, and we may even have mentioned this in the pod, but that people think that, again, our society, more is better, right? If I have more, that means I will have more energy for longer, or that means basically what we think is if we have more, we will have what we need for what we need it for. And the thing about substance in general is that it just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't.
Right.
And, with caffeine, without getting into the whole thing, and if you want to know more nuts and bolts about it, again, check out our caffeine presentation. But with caffeine, less is more. You want to become more sensitive to it, not less sensitive to it, because of the metabolic strain and changes that it puts your body through.
So Celsius is what in the pod before I was talking about with the high schooler with the racing heart. That's what it was, that product. And I couldn't recall it at the time. Yeah, that's what she was drinking. She was having 2 of those or whatever it was in the morning.
Okay.
Well,
so
she doesn't. It tastes good, Nicole. It tastes good.
Yeah, well, that's why.
And it wakes me up. No. I'm sorry. You're already awake, honey.
Are you not?
We're talking. You're already awake.
Eyes not open. Come on.
Right.
Well, but the thing about that, so this is what this teacher had written in and said that they touted at her gym as a healthy caffeine. Well, what
does that even mean?
It doesn't mean anything. But
what's a healthy caffeine?
Because
caffeine
we associate. I know. Listen, we are blowing up. I know it's a substance, but the thing is because the word "healthy" is in it, it makes it okay. So
that's weird, though. Healthy caffeine. What's unhealthy caffeine? Because I'm sorry, the chemical structure of caffeine is not different from one caffeine to another caffeine molecule. It's the same substance. I'm not going to get over it. I can't. Who said that should have been your red flag if you have half a brain? Oh, this has healthy caffeine in it.
Well, it's almost like saying this is healthy cocaine. So how about that? You know what I'm saying?
That'll be the next word. Oh, that means it's pure.
That means it's pure.
It's pure caffeine.
Which again, what does that even mean?
What? Okay.
Well, so this is the other piece about that product, because I'm just ready to go ahead and tear this apart. So the other thing about this whole thing is what, so they have 6 different of this Celsius crap that they sell. But at this particular gym, there's one that, like I said, 200 milligrams of caffeine, ridiculous, even says another thing. So I was looking at some of these other products, and I think the other big red flag is that anything that has a proprietary blend, that's one thing for sure you have got to recognize is a red flag, because within that proprietary blend, they do not have to disclose precisely how much of each of those things is actually in there, which means there could be 0.0 milligrams of all of the substances and 1,000,000 milligrams of just the caffeine, but they call it a proprietary blend where they have all of these other names that people think are cool, moshed into one thing. And then that's supposed to be the secret sauce. Well, it's not secret. It's not sauce. There's going to be an imbalance. And I mean, point and truth. Is that a term? Am I just putting words together now?
I'm not sure. I'm too hot and bothered right now to.
Case in point is what I wanted to say. Case in point is that while working,
it's not been evaluated by the FDA. It's not.
Right.
I mean,
right. But while working with the team, I always had to research all of the supplements, and it always bothered me because some of the ones that they wanted had proprietary blends, and I was like, we cannot do this. And they said, well, just contact the companies. So I did. I contacted companies, and companies were like, A, very nervous that I was actually asking, and B, could not produce any data of precisely what was in and that's exactly it. And that is another reason why supplements are not FDA regulated. There's no structure to this is how it has to be. There's nothing.
Right. Don't buy things that say proprietary. That's how people die.
So ridiculous.
You know what I mean? Like, ooh.
Right, because proprietary blend also means tainted with whatever. You know, that there's stuff in there.
They can do whatever they want to
it. It doesn't matter. It's like, here we have leftovers of whatever. We're just going to dump this in there and see how the body reacts. I mean, essentially,
that's what they're doing. Okay. So, do you have the ingredients on your computer?
Sure. Okay. I'll throw it up.
Okay. Here's my question. So we know it has caffeine because here's the argument. Well, it's better than soda.
What?
So is it though? Is there carbonate in it, and is there?
It's like the exact same thing in it because it's
sparkling.
Like, with
so
what? A diet soda or regular soda? It's the same thing.
Well, it's carbonated, but does it have the same?
No, just because there's no phosphorus in there. So there's no phosphorus like
there's no phosphorus.
Any caramel colored soda, I guess you could say.
Okay, so if there's no phosphorus, it's not going to leach calcium out, but it's a regular soda, Diet Coke, it's like 87 milligrams of caffeine.
Right.
So it's comical to me. Oh my God, I just 37. It's something. Yeah, I mean, it's
37 milligrams of caffeine, which is like nothing. And the only exception is Mountain Dew. It has a bit of a higher amount, but it doesn't have a ridiculous higher amount. It just has a little bit higher amount.
Right.
It's not even as much as a Red Bull. And a Red Bull.
What is a Red Bull?
It has 80 milligrams. And that's accessible. I know it's a lot, but it's also acceptable. And
so these have 200.
That's just what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
What does a caffeine pill have? You know what I mean?
Oh, you don't even want to know. And that's a whole another thing, because people then are also buying green tea extract. Let's not do that. Let's just not do that.
That's bad.
Because the thing is you do not know where this is coming from. It's originally coming from a leaf. You have no idea where these leaves are coming from, because I'm telling you, this stuff is not regulated. And so much of it comes over on a boat from China. And no one is going through it to say, oh my gosh, this has all this other stuff in it. Yes. It's crazy.
You don't know. I mean, I know maybe I'm saying that tongue in cheek, but like you don't know what's in this
stuff. You don't. And this is the other piece. The reason why we're saying this, and the reason why we have this weird tone like we're talking right now, is because
and I'm like 2 inches from the
computer. We literally are like
I'm heard better.
Super close to the screen right now. That's hysterical. But it's because, people see this stuff again as healthy. Come on.
Healthy caffeine specifically.
It's not healthy.
It doesn't.
Oh my gosh.
It's just
it's just mind-blowing.
I'm so sad for humanity. Like on so many levels. It's
I hate
so
all these
discouraging.
Products. I know.
I do too.
Well, because
I do too. And
everything's so misleading. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm all for making products. I'm all for people having choices and those types of things. But like, if we're at the point where we're using the phrase healthy caffeine, I mean, come on, people. Like, you just can't. Like, we can't. Stop
No.
labeling, stop doing any of that. It's a substance, period.
Right.
It's a legal substance, and that's fine, but it's a substance. It's a stimulant.
Well,
and you're literally, I mean,
it's, the thing is like caffeine is almost getting to the same genre as alcohol. I mean, think about it. People are becoming addicted to it, and they're becoming less sensitive to it, which means
it's cool.
Which means they need more.
Right. So let's talk about adaptation.
Right.
That's what that
okay.
is.
Hello. I mean, thank you.
Because you're like segueing right now, and
I guess I am. I'm right there.
Yeah, you're there. Do it.
So the thing is that metabolic adaptation is simply that. Whatever you're currently doing, you have to keep doing it in order to continue to feel the same way. And when it comes down to a substance, even when it comes down to exercise a little bit, and I don't want to get too far into this,
I'll give examples.
You have to keep doing more because your body is so smart that it adapts to what you're doing to it.
Right. So let's really quick.
Because it's all about survival. Okay.
Can I have metabolic adaptation to green beans?
No, that's not a thing.
No, not a thing. Okay. Can I have metabolic adaptation? And you kind of already said this, to exercise.
Yes, 100%.
So here's my example for that. And I'll use myself. I became, and maybe I've talked about this on other podcasts, I became royally depressed after finishing Ice Age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, recovering and taking that time to recover, which is totally needed, right? I mean, that's totally needed. Nicole's my dietitian for that, and totally needed, necessary, all things.
Absolutely.
I mean, I wasn't running for weeks after that because that's what you do, right?
Right.
You can say, oh, it's just because you're not in the woods anymore.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's shifts in hormones when you do this kind of stuff.
Yep. Absolute chemical.
Just so much as you have it's all chemical.
Yep.
You have shifts in hormones when you start exercising. Oh my God, that felt so good.
Mm-hmm.
I feel so sluggish. I'm not exercising. You're speaking words. You're putting words to your hormones.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes.
Right.
Can I have metabolic adaptation to fiber?
No.
No. But some people think that, though. I mean, I have to get in. Again, it's when we start to say these have tos.
Mm-hmm.
So metabolic adaptation is specifically with things that impact our chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
Can I metabolically adapt to sugar?
That's really
Don't they,
I think the thing is okay. Let's just talk about that a little bit, because I think
I'm like backing you into a corner.
No, you are, but I also think this is a really good. No, but this is a really good example, and we are not going to talk about sugar addiction because that's not quite the case. However, Annie and I have talked about this. When you do not expose yourself to certain things, you become more sensitive to whatever lights up in your brain around that. Yeah. So when you have candy that you haven't had in a while, you're like, oh, that's lighting up my brain. This is so great. But if you keep wanting that same experience, eventually you're going to not have that the more you keep having. And I'm not saying don't eat candy. This is why I'm actually telling you to eat candy. So it doesn't create this huge flux in brain light up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the brain light up that makes people get hooked or afraid or want more.
That's addiction.
In a crazy way. That's right.
I don't think people understand what addiction means.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they understand what a true addiction to something is, because the same people who claim that you can have a sugar addiction are the ones who are drinking 400 milligrams of caffeine in an hour. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Just because you have a sugar, an influx of feelings when you have, right. When you have sugar, doesn't mean you're addicted to it, or that it's
not at all
an addiction.
No,
that is a poopy word that they started putting on physiology, chemistry. You know what I mean? That's just basic things that happen.
That's correct.
It's just because it changes hormones, and substances change hormones, doesn't mean that they all fall under the same category.
Agreed. Of course.
But I digress. That's a different conversation. Right?
Yeah, no, completely. Absolutely, completely. I think, just to even talk about that for a quick second too, like all of the things that people are just like, no, I can't eat this. I won't eat this. I shouldn't eat this. Right. I eat basically all of those things, and I eat them kind of daily. And to the point where I also eat a lot of really other great things too, right? Because it's about having balance. It's not that, but the point is that if I don't have those things, I don't miss it either, because I have them all the time. You see what I'm saying? There's literally no
Oh yeah, we've had so many conversations
connection
about this, right?
to any of that. Like, it just doesn't matter, because I eat the stuff whenever,
regularly,
right? So it doesn't,
which is how it should be.
There's no brain hit. There's no attachment.
There's no upset tummy.
That's right. There's nothing. There's nothing. I was just thinking that the other day, because I thought to myself, God, I'm actually sick of eating dessert. I'm like, why am I sick of eating dessert? Maybe because we have it every day. Where I'm just like, gosh, I really don't actually feel like this today. I'm not going to have it, because I'm not feeling like that's what I want today. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I mean, what a place to be in, where, somebody else would just be like, oh my gosh, how can you not? Well, because it's not a thing. It's just another form of food, and I'm kind of tired of it. Right. I'm good. Just like I get tired of salads, or you get tired of a particular vegetable because you eat a lot of it, or you get tired of anything else that's good for you too, because you eat a lot of it. I don't know. Right. That's why we need variety. Right. Anyway.
Exactly.
Just trying to make another point with that, where there isn't this draw, when you kind of have things on a real regular basis, whatever. We're not talking about caffeine, but that's a different thing. That's a completely different thing. Caffeine is really the drug piece, but that's the thing. It's acceptable because it's not considered a life-threatening thing yet. However, it has taken lives. So go figure. So when are they going to start saying, hey, we should probably try to regulate this a little bit? Or maybe should we regulate how much goes into a product? Just maybe. Because this is creating problems.
Why does caffeine have to go into water?
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? Like,
why does anything have to go into water?
Why does that have to be a thing?
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I know.
It just, give me a break.
I know.
Well, and okay, here's why. Because regular soda, that has sugar, and diet soda, that's not good for you. And this, you know what I mean? I mean, here, in coffee, they say, and blah, blah, like, Come on. You're just moving one thing to the next, just
correct.
I don't know, whatever.
Right.
All right. So back to metabolic adaptation.
Yeah. So point being is in particular with exercise, and that again is another addictive thing that can start to happen. And to what Annie was saying, and I remember that time very clearly, that's another reason why when people start doing that and they say, I have to run, I can't not run, I can't not work out. Exactly.
Right.
Because you're starting to feel the effects of that brain starting to drop a little far. So there, we know for sure then there is an imbalance. We're not in balance with our exercise then. It's going beyond a point that your body is actually okay with. And I know that might be hard for people to either understand or accept or even see, but it's true. A lot. It's really, really true.
I had to get to that point.
Yes,
I mean, it's hard.
Course.
It's extremely uncomfortable, and you don't, because if you don't trust your body, you know what I mean? I mean, that's a really hard thing.
A, if you don't trust your body, but B, if you don't even understand that that's what's happening.
Correct.
You know, I mean, when someone's just training for something, or, like you, my gosh, that was so massive. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's just, but that's the other thing, like what you did isn't like, let's not recommend that's what people should be doing. No. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's like,
That's not what people should be doing.
Thing, and you made it very clear. I mean, this is the thing too. We've had discussions and I won't disclose things, but what I'm saying is that, this isn't something that you necessarily want to be doing all the time.
No, not at all.
You feel it. Like you feel it. You feel it.
Right. And you have to honor what your body's telling you. And even like, for example, even like when you're sick and people still go run and it's like, dude, you're fucking sick, man. Like, chill on the couch. Well, but I just feel so lazy.
Well, but that's a personal problem because you have a belief system around rest that is messed up, or a societal belief, or a familial belief.
I don't need rest. They're different.
But
my body doesn't adapt.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Or whatever people want to make up in their brain.
Yeah. But we bring that up, especially around the exercise piece, because I'm also seeing that an awful lot, but that will be true for your intake as well. So what I mean by that, when we talk about intake, is people who do the extreme thing, right? So if they do like the keto thing, or if they do the thing is because of that extreme level, you have to continue doing that.
Right.
And if you're not going to, you've got to wean very, very slowly so your body can adapt yet again to a different way of being versus I'm sick of this and now I'm binging on everything.
And so when you go from one diet to one diet every 4 weeks, you switch to a different diet. Or how about I'm going to do the whole 30. So it's 30 days.
Yeah.
Or this cleanse. You're literally going into and out of that adaptation.
Absolutely. 100%.
Not only are you doing that, but you're screwing up your microbiome as well. Yes. I mean, that's a whole nother story.
Well, and so the thing is, and I eat normally. I eat what my body needs. I also eat intuitively. It's not a focus of mine. And literally my body has remained the same for years. For years.
Years.
Absolute years. And the only reason why my composition will shift is if I'm doing more weight training than not. It's easy.
Absolutely do.
This is my point. It's actually easy. And I know people are probably hating that I'm saying that right now. But I think what makes me feel so sad sometimes is that when I'm hearing some of my clients that will come in and, new ones in particular, and they're just like, I've done everything. I've been all over the place. And I'm thinking that's metabolic adaptation. Your body has had to adapt on so many levels because of this feast or famine.
Right.
And when it has to do this feast or famine, then your body decides and resets its set point.
Correct.
It resets its set point. So a set point that you may have had at one point that you still didn't like, and then started all of this yo-yo stuff.
Should have kept that one you didn't like.
Right. Now had to increase by 20 or 30 pounds sometimes.
Correct.
To deal with the stress and strain that the constant yo-yoing has caused. Again, your body only wants you to survive.
Right.
So it will do what it needs to do.
And surviving it oftentimes is adding fat mass. I mean, that's a survival tactic.
Or putting it in different spots. Absolutely.
Correct. Right.
That is metabolic adaptation, period.
That's the essence of, right?
It just makes me feel sad. It's just, there's so much emphasis goes into this. And it's like, we weren't designed to think this hard.
No,
we just weren't around eating, around nurturing, around
there shouldn't be a profession. Like our profession, we shouldn't exist.
Well, our existence exists because of the foundation of healing people from disease with nutrition and other, things that, that is why, but not for weight stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Crap.
And not for this stuff.
Yeah. Why do I have to look at a product that is making people's hearts race?
Oh my gosh.
why is that a thing?
These need
why are people paying us to do that?
These need to be banned. I was talking to, I could not believe it. I would never have, guessed this individual that I was talking with was using this particular product, but there's another horrible product on the market. And I thought for sure she had a kid who brought it home. And then she started using it because she was like, oh, what's this? Right. Oh, it's absolutely horrible. It has so much caffeine. It's ridiculous, but it also has so much nitric oxide in it. And it was funny because she said, I started taking this. Yes. She said, I started taking this. And she's like, wow, I feel really jazzed when I
No kidding. Like, that should be a substance.
So let's just put a stop to this right away. And I'm like, what are you physically feeling? And she was like walking through like, well, I'm like sweating. And I'm like, whoa, okay. She's like, my heart is just like wants to jump out of my chest. And I just feel like I'm on fire. And I'm like, okay, so do you think that's a good thing? Because it's not. So let's talk about this for a minute, and so I had to basically get her off of that. But this stuff should not be existing for people, in particular for teenagers.
No. Well, but that's their market.
I know. But that's what I'm saying.
Get buff?
It's beyond crazy. It's beyond crazy.
It makes me so upset because that stuff, I've known people who have ended up in the hospital with that stuff.
Well, of course.
It's not okay.
Right. And children dying from this stuff. That's very well documented, especially with monster drinks.
Right. It is well documented, but yet, okay, let's continue.
Well, that's why I'm thinking, what is happening? And then you hate to get into all of the, like, is it just driven by money? I hate to say it. But
yeah, it is.
Isn't somebody going to come in and say, this has happened once and that's enough? So isn't it time to do something about it? Yeah, do we need to wait for another and another and another?
It is all about money, and it's all about,
it's crazy.
The belief in our society that we all have to be working, 50-hour weeks. Well, how do you do that? You don't sleep. So we better have products to help make sure people aren't sleeping or not, or, whatever, staying awake so they can work more, because it's all about money.
Well,
it's all about, business.
Even about the nurse friend, when, she was saying like, well, I do 24-hour shifts. And it's like, why is that even a thing? Why is that okay? Why is that even a job position?
Right.
I don't understand. This is healthcare.
Right. Why are
doing
we
24-hour shifts is not a thing. You know what? It's not a health thing.
No. Medical residents doing 48-hour shifts.
Well, right.
They're not even qualified. They're not.
Oh gosh. It's unbelievable. I know. Okay.
It's not appropriate.
So anyway, so what did we talk about today, kids? What's the letter of the day? The letter of the day is no.
Yeah. N-O.
N-O.
No. Can you figure that one out? That's some irony right there. N-O.
N-O. Yeah, exactly.
Chemistry.
Yeah. It is. It's chemistry.
Hopefully my chemistry geeks caught that one.
I know. Well, hey, we want to know what you think too. And if you have any more questions or comments, because these conversations are always interesting, but we're just trying to bring light again to things that we just don't want people to get harmed all the time. So just trying to bring light to things. So anyway, thanks as always for listening.
Bye.
Have questions you want to hear discussed on the show? Find us on Facebook or visit betweentwopastries.com and drop us a line. Want to support the show? Find us on Patreon for exclusive content. If you love the show, find us on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. Hit the subscribe button and leave us a review.